and thank you for tuning in to Gardening with Daddy Pete. I'll be your host today, Melvin York, and we're coming to you today from Daddy Pete Farms here in lovely downtown Stony Point, North Carolina, where it looks like here we have a beautiful April day shaping up after a couple days of in the 30s of the morning. Looks like that we're getting ready to head on into some warmer weather. And I think they're actually forecasting next week up in the 90s during the day. So it's North Carolina. If you don't get the weather you like, that's our saying here. Just hang on before the day's out, and I'm sure you will. I would like to thank you so much for tuning in to our podcast. And if you have a subject that we haven't covered yet, you can always go to our webpage, which is daddypetes.com. If you'll look here, I think Avery may have it up on the screen. And you can look there, and actually there's a place there when you go through it. You can look at our products. You can find a little bit about us there on the About section. If you'll look, there's products. Where to buy our products. You can go on, and it will give you a store finder where you can buy it. Look under our media, it's podcast. We also have how-to videos. And if you do run a garden center or you have a nursery, it gives you details on how to become one of our certified dealers. And then we have a page for you to put in your orders and all. We have different links. And then here's the contact information. You can go in here, click on that, roll down. If you'd like to give us a call, you can do that. If you have a question for me, when the prompts come up, you can go to extension 206. I'm Melvin York, and leave me a question, or you can fax us one in on our fax number at 704-585-2352. Shoot us a mail. We'll go snail mail here. We're 1210 Smith Farm Road, Stony Point, North Carolina, 28678. Now, send us a message. We can do that on email. Put in your first and last name, or your first name if you would rather. It's fine. This form here can be for business or non-business. So skip that part of business name. Go into your email address so we can get back to you. If you'd like a phone call from me, I'll be more than glad to do that. I do answer our emails. I do answer you back. And if you'd like for me to give you a call, talk to me directly on the phone, that's fine too. And down at the bottom, then you can leave a message. Also, if you'll look down here in the left-hand corner, it says join our newsletter. Now, we send out a monthly newsletter giving you some tips and ideas on what to do for gardening for the month coming up. You will get a gardening how-to, what to do tips for the month of April. Those already went out at the 1st of April. If you subscribe now, of course, naturally you can pick that and go back and pick up any of the other ones that are archived. But then you will be on our list to get the gardening tips for May. And there is some useful ones. Not only that, but our ladies have come up with some wonderful recipes for some of the things you grow, some of the things you can do during the holiday season. Believe me, I like to eat, as you can tell by looking at me. And they really come up with some recipes that is great. A lot of the old-time recipes, too. So something you might want to do, so you can go to that page there under Contact and do that. So we'll go back to home page here for just a moment. And today's topic that we're looking at and what I'd like to talk about, because I've had a lot of people ask me these questions, and it's decorative and privacy borders. Now, a lot of people use trees and shrubs for borders. Sometimes we use them for borders around focal points in the yard. We may use them to define a line in our yard, to put around our gardens and all that. But today we're going to basically focus on trees. Now, you can do borders with shrubs. You can do it with perennials. You can do it with annuals. and change them about during the seasons. So there's so many different ways, and we'll have to get into the others later on. But today we are basically going to focus on the different type trees. Now, there's several different things you want to consider when you're doing when you're planting trees for either border between your land border, or if you're doing it for privacy. Maybe you have a long driveway that you're wanting to decorate up. Maybe you want to define that driveway into a part of beautifying it as you drive through that, heading into your house or your farm or your barn or whatever the case may be on that. You've got a few decisions to make. Number one, are you going to plant a evergreen type tree, or are you going to plant a deciduous tree that loses its leaves in the fall and provides color? Now, are you providing the plant for spring color, blooming, or are you going for fall color, or both? These are a couple things you want to think about. Now, if you're putting up for a privacy fence, I'm sure that you're looking for an evergreen type tree. If you're doing, like I talked about, maybe a border where you're coming down the driveway, you want the leaves to fall off in the fall so that maybe your driveway could get the sun going in case of snow or ice, or dry out a little quicker on account of rain, then these are decisions you need to make. Now, there's other things to consider before we give you a variety of trees to do. When you are looking at and you're designing where you're going to put your trees at, first of all, you need to look at, are there any overhead power lines? Now, trees get certain heights, so we're going to talk about the different heights that trees get. You don't want to plant a 50-foot tree underneath the power line because it's going to have to be cut or mutilated later on. So, that's one thing to think about. Another thing to think about is septic systems. If you live in the country, if you don't have city or county sewer, you want to make sure that you don't plant those trees around over your septic tank or the septic lines for your field of drainage coming from that septic tank. You don't want the roots to go in and start getting into the lines, fill those up, cause mass clogs, and then you have sewer problems. So that's another thing you need to take into consideration. Also, your water system. If you have a well, if you don't have county water or city water, but you do have your own well, you don't want to plant close to wells. Sometimes these plants, and especially a willow is one of the worst, to run roots down and actually, well, a lot of your old wells have your concrete tiles or casing around them, and they will actually hunt a place, run through the crack, and they'll actually get into the well. And believe it or not, you can get a massive root system going on like that. So these are just some of the things you want to think about before you're planting. Make sure that you're not planting under power lines. Make sure you're not planting around the septic system or around your water system there. So it's a couple things to think about. Now, if you're going the deciduous tree route and you want to stay kind of on the smaller rim, I'm going to give you a couple trees here, and there's many more. Again, I'll always say that you go to your local extension service, or you can go through the state extension, which is the same thing, and you can get good ideas. There'll be articles on there on border trees, deciduous type, evergreen, and what grows good in your area. I'm a firm believer if you stay with a somewhat native tree, it seems to do better, but then there's a lot that we have brought in over the years that does well too. But they're going to give you a list of the trees that's going to do best in your area. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the deciduous trees on the smaller variety of those there, which will be a little smaller in height, and that's like a flowering dogwood. They're beautiful. And now with your dogwoods, your native ones are on the white. You have the Costa dogwood, which blooms a little later. There's pink varieties out there with those. There's some out there that's just a little off-white. There's actually several different colors of dogwood, so it gives you a good choice on those, and that's the smaller variety tree. They grow well, they're hardy, and they're going to be around for a while. Also, eastern redbuds here in North Carolina, they give you some beautiful color, and another thing about that is with that, with the color that you get from the leaves in the fall, again, the dogwood's good, the redbud's good also. Now, another tree, and I know that you have to be around this area just to know what's going on, and that is the redbud tree. Redbud's a tree that grows basically on the shorter variety, has like a heart-shaped leaf to it. It's really something to see, to be honest with you. And that tree, again, is basically, it's a native tree. It takes care of itself, and it works really well. It really does. And just to give you an example, and there's another tree called the fringe tree. And that's one that we do see a lot around here. Now, every one of these trees do put on an array of color in the spring. So if you're kind of looking for spring color right there, and still a beautiful show in the fall, this would be one of the four would be great. And then again, there's others. Just, kind of do a little research on that, and you'll find that. Now, if we're going to go into a taller tree on the deciduous, we've got the maple variety. There's so many different varieties of maple and different heights on them. Now, maple does put out a beautiful show in the fall. One of the things, though, that the leaves fall, they curl up small. They're not real messy there, but maple does tend to have more brittle limbs. You do get some limbs in the fall or in the windstorm, small limbs like to come out of them. And also the little seedlings, the seeds, they do fly out a lot this time of year when the wind blows. And it's kind of a little bit of a mess, but not too bad. But in maples, you have the old woods or sugar maple that I call it. You have a silver leaf, which the backside of the leaf when the wind blows, it just has a beautiful silver color. So many different varieties of the red or orange maple, like you've got October Glory, you've got was one, you've got the Blaze, red maple. So you've got a lot of different choices with maple. Maples do get higher. Some maples can get to 30, 40 feet tall. So again, you want to look at what you're doing. Another one on that would be your river birch. It's a beautiful tree. They have like a scaly type bark on them. Sometimes you can get a white river birch. They tend to grow up in multiple stems. Some people do keep them trimmed back to single stem, but birch is a nice tree. Also, your willow oak, smaller leaf, works well, but again, you're looking at a 40, 50-foot tree. Black gum, and that's native around here. Just a beautiful, beautiful red type leaf that usually starts turning red a little bit sooner in the fall than some of your other varieties tree. Black gum is a hardy tree. It's a slower grower, but again, you're looking at 40 to 50 foot tall trees. So just keep in mind where you're going to put those. Now, if you do want to go to the evergreen side and use it for a privacy border, or you just basically want an evergreen, there's some good choices here too. And again, some of these will get taller than the others, but most of these are going to be on the 30, 40-foot side, except for maybe the camellia. A camellia is kind of a tree shrub in between. A lot of people call them winter rose. Camellias bloom at different times. In my yard, I do have some that bloom in the fall, and it's a lighter pink variety, and it's beautiful. If you're down towards the coast, then the cold weather won't hurt the bloom. Sometimes mine gets cold if we do have an early freeze. Frost usually doesn't bother. Then I do have the red variety, or winter blooming variety, which blooms more in January and February, and they have such beautiful color on them, and the leaves are dark green. So that is my favorite. The shrub itself, or tree shrub, kind of like in between. Doesn't take a lot of pruning or a lot of care. That is so beautiful. When the fall, where everything else has lost its leaf and it looks a little gray looking and all, it is wonderful. When I come down the driveway, I have some down the driveway. I also have some back of my house, and to see that beautiful dark green just shining, it's almost like they have a shine. And then when they start blooming, again in the still dead of the winter, it is really something to see some life or color going on. So that's a good choice you want to look at. Leyland cypress. Now, Leyland's is one that gets a bad rap. That a lot of people, when doing privacy fences, they put them too close together. They don't get any air in between them, and they will catch a disease. My favorite of all of the border trees, I'm going to let one go 40, 50 foot tall, which the cypress will do, and also this next one, which is a green giant arborvitae. Now, that's a healthy looking tree, does a great job. Keep it spread out just a little bit. Pretty much disease resistant. I've not seen a lot of problem with disease with your green giants. Another one you got is your southern magnolia. Again, puts out some leaves, puts out some, they're pretty cumbersome on the cones they do put out. You have to kind of pick up, but beautiful spring flowers that bloom on the magnolia, dark green, waxy looking leaves, and they stay that way all winter. So that's, but a magnolia again can go 40 to 50 feet tall, 35, 40, 50 feet, no problem at all. You may want to consider something like holly. Now, hollies is a beautiful tree. Again, you get the red berries on into the late fall, early winter. There's different varieties. The one that's around here that grows native is the American holly. Another one that works good in the landscape is the Nellie R. Stevens. That works really well. Now, I have 3 cryptomerias. Now, there's different varieties of cryptomerias. Mine's the golden cryptomerias. Those trees put on a massive trunk. They're beautiful. The foliage on them, you walk up to them and you grab a hold of them, and they look like they're going to be all spiny like, and they're kind of soft. Beautiful foliage on them. So now these trees will get massive in several years. Mine is at the peak of 50 foot easy, and they've probably been planted 15 years from a 3-gallon pot, which they were about 2 foot, maybe 2.5 foot size. Those are in some of the red dirt around here. And to be honest with you, I really didn't expect them to do as well as they did, and they have thrived. Now, let's talk just a little bit, since I give you some ideas on some of the things you can plant. And there's others. You just need to do your research on it, but there's many others when it comes to planting these. if you're planting in the western North Carolina area or in that type of soil through the Piedmont, which would be clay, loam, or whatever, let me show you here, if you can look on our page here, if I can get it pulled up, on what we use to plant our shrubs and trees with. Daddy Pete's, we do have a mix that we do that with that works well. This mix has been designed for it. It's called Daddy Pete's Planting Mix. And if you'll notice, that's in a naturally with our trademarks cow spots. You'll see that the writing on it is in orange. This comes in a 2 cubic foot bag. You also can buy this in a 25 quart bag. Now, when planting those shrubs, you want to dig your hole just a little bit wider around or circle around than what's in the pot. The soil that you take out of this, if you're in, like I say, the mountain area, the western part of North Carolina, or the Piedmont, where you have the loam or the clay, with the soil that you remove from that hole, you want to mix it 50-50 with the planting mix when you go to plant that tree or shrub back. Now, make sure when you do take that out of the pot, you take the ball out of the pot, you want to take your fingers, kind of open it up. You want to let those roots open up a little bit, pull them a little bit, because roots grow out. Yes, they do grow down some, but out is where your roots are going to be going. So that's why you want to dig your hole a little wider, or in circumference, you want to go about a third bigger than what your pot is. Make sure that the soil that you put back in has been amended with the Daddy Pete at a 50-50 ratio with the soil that you've taken out of the hole. And when you go to put that in, you'll notice a soil line on your pot up against your stem of the plant. Make sure that you don't put soil back any higher than what that soil line is. In other words, bring your plant up a little bit out of that hole. Now, as you're planting it, you want to make sure that you take your hands and go in, take your fingers, run through, make sure that you get soil around all those roots. And it's built up just a little bit, a couple inches, so you can make a mound down so water will run away. Keep in mind your roots are going to be out here, not down around that stem. And the same thing when it comes to mulching. You never want to mulch right up against the stem of a tree or a shrub. That way you can cause disease, you can cause rot there. You want to keep it out. When you're mulching is for 2 or 3 things. Keep weeds down. It's also to keep the hot weather, keep your temperature even in hot weather, and that gives a good insulation base there. Also, it keeps it warm in the winter, and it regulates the amount of water there, keeps some even moisture going on that plant so it can thrive in the hot, dry times of summer. So keep that in mind when you're doing your planting. Make sure that whatever you do is you take that soil mixture, take your fingers, go down between those roots. And when I say pack it, I don't mean pack it so hard it's like a brick, but I mean push it in around and make it firm. And then bring that all the way up, make a mound from the stem out, and making sure that stem is at least a couple inches higher than ground level so the water can run away to the point of where your roots are. Okay? Now, for our friends that's on the coastal part of North Carolina, and it could be South Carolina, Virginia, makes no difference on that. When you're dealing with a sandy type soil, the planting mix is designed to bust clay, feed your plant, and offer drainage. But when you're in a sandy type situation, you already have the drainage. So what we recommend there is to use our, if I can get it to come up, there we go, our Daddy Pete's composted dairy cow manure. Now, that will give you a good organic matter. You already have the drainage in the sand. You want to use the same way that we did this for the Piedmont and for the mountain regions. When you dig that hole, you want to mix our composted dairy cow manure. You want to mix it 50-50 for what you put back in the hole as you're planting that plant. Do the same thing, raise it up, make your hole a little larger, a little bigger around. Take your mixture, make sure it goes in between the roots. But you already have drainage with the sand. You don't need that. We need organic matter, and what we need is something to feed that plant. So I recommend that you use our Daddy Pete's composted dairy cow manure to amend your sandy soil when you're planting trees and shrubs. I think you'll see the difference in it. So that's just giving you a couple ideas here today. And again, you can go to our website here and go here under products and look through, and it's going to tell you everything we got and what the uses are if you go to it. Just like, for instance, we'll do our, let's just take one here. Either one. Let's go to our raised bed mix. We'll click on it. And then it gives you a description of what we're going to do, what's in it, okay? The different bag size that comes in, and we give you the product usage for it, okay? You can use this for vegetables, raised beds, containers, and if you go on and read a little more on some of the other things you can use with it too. Go to our website and look that up on, if you go back to the home page here. If you go down there, it says, scroll down, it says click for gardening with Daddy Pete podcast. You can go through and listen and find the subject that you're interested in. Click on that. Or if you want to actually see some how-to videos, we do that too. If you have a question, like I said before, you can click here, send us your question. So anyway, that's just some of the things. I'll be talking again soon on, we'll do some borders on some shrubs, smaller shrubs, some perennials, and some annuals, some of the focal points in your yard and your garden. Do some up next to the woodscape. That's what I like to call it. Some of the things you can incorporate there that you might not have thought of. And, hopefully it helps. If you do have a question or a comment, we'd love to hear from you here at Daddy Pete. Again, all you got to do is go down to click here to send us your questions, and I will answer them. We do appreciate that. That does help us kind of set forward on what we're going to do on our podcast, because when I get these questions, I know that there's got to be more than one person that has the same question. If you're up around the Taylorsville area next Saturday, which is the 18th of April, I will be at the Ace Hardware in Taylorsville from about 9 till 12. Come on by, and, we'll be there to answer your questions and do a few things. I think they're going to have some great door prizes and all like that. So if you get a moment, just come by and see us there. We'd be glad to have you. Glad to see you. Well, it has been fun today, but since I said, and when we first started talking, that this is a beautiful day, I think I'm going to get out here and start to enjoy it. So keep in mind, gardening soothes the soul. I really love gardening, and I've got people that goes, well, I don't have a green thumb. Everybody has a green thumb, okay? And that's what we're doing here with Daddy Pete. Our motto is we help you grow, and that's exactly what we intend to do, is to help you grow. That's why it's so important that you give us a call, send us that email, the text, the letter, whatever it is, because we do want to help you be successful with gardening. Well, until next time, I want to thank you again for tuning in. You're listening to Melvin York with Gardening with Daddy Pete.